What are some of the best practices that you can keep while practicing for your Scrum Master interview? Hello, welcome to the Scrum Master chat room with Dr. Francis Mbunya. And today we are going to look at some of the best practices that you can keep while you are on your way to landing your first job. The reason why it's very important for us to talk about these practices is because sometimes we might be doing some certain things that are limiting our success. But if you understand what to do, what not to do, and how to go about the entire process, it's going to fast forward how soon you get the job. So before we move ahead, if you're new here, click the subscribe button. And every week we are bringing you great content that's going to help you really get into that environment as fast as possible. Remember, I always say that a Scrum Master is not just a job, it's an entire career. You need to be able to understand, you need to be able to view it as something really big, right? It's a prestigious career. You're stepping into a leadership role. So you need to learn how to become a leader in order to effectively go through the process. And sometimes you might even go through the process. Some people have gone through the process, they're unable to keep the job because they miss out some little practices. But then without wasting much time, let's go into some of the details. The first thing that you are going to do, the first thing that is going to help you start seeing yourself as a Scrum Master, even though you are still in the process, first is to have a good mastery of the Scrum environment. How do you start building that mastery of the Scrum environment? If I were to ask you, can you explain to me what Scrum or what Agile mean without really using any technical term? What does it really mean to you? So when you start bringing it down into this base level where you can explain it to anybody and they can understand, now you're having a mastery. I like an example one of my friends always use. He said, look, Scrum Master or Agile is just like you going to the barber shop, or let me use examples of ladies. And a lady going to a hairdresser, and the lady say, oh, I want something with a ponytail, I want maybe dread, I want, what type of hair do you want? And then the hairdresser said, okay, let's see how it comes. And you sit in front of the mirror, and then they start fixing your hair. And you say, oh, I was thinking it's gonna be like this, but I think I want it to be more of black than brown. Can you change the mesh color, or can you make it a little bit bigger, or can you can you loosen a bit? It kind of hurt. No, the ladies, all the complaints you're gonna give, right? The process is a conversational process. You, the customer, you are the center, and the hairdresser is doing everything possible to make sure that he or she satisfy your need before you leave. So what is that process? That process is an agile process. It's flexible. So agile simply means that you want to be flexible the way things are being done. So if you understand that agile is about flexibility, now in which environment can we implement flexibility? All right. This is where people might sometimes make a mistake. Oh, Agile is about software development, or Agile is about IT. Now, the reason Agile came into place in the 1991 was to be able to build in an environment where the customer is at the center of it. Because if your customer is at the center of it, you can always have good feedback that can enable you improve on your quality. So, that is the surrounding of Scrum. That's the environment of Scrum. And that is why if you don't really if you don't have a good mastery of Scrum, I always say go back and read the 4 core Agile Manifesto value, and also the 12 principles. Read them and understand them. Then read the Scrum Guide. The Scrum Guide is going to help you to learn how to implement all the different Scrum events. And if you're practicing SAFe, then you need to know the 4 core SAFe value and the 10 principles of SAFe. Now that's where to start. If you read your Agile manifesto, you read the Scrum guide, and then you know about SAFe and the values of SAFe and the principles of SAFe, then you have a good mastery of the environment. Now, when you have the good mastery of the environment, the next thing you want to do, which is number 2, is to understand your resume and how it applies to the Scrum environment. It is not just good to build a resume and put all of those fancy stuff on the resume. It's good to understand what you put in your resume. How can you explain that in a Scrum environment? Now, this is why it's very important when someone with a technical recruiter, with someone who's hiring directly from the company, when they pick up your resume, they really want to go detailed and see how you're able to do some applications, how you're able to reflect it in some realities, right? Why? Because they want to move you faster to the next level. When a technical recruiter from the agency actually picks your resume, you don't go through so many processes. Why? Because they have validated that. They really take their time. They try to get forward and back with you, asking you some details, get some detailed understanding before moving you forward. So you always have to have a good mastery of your resume. Even if you hired a resume builder to build your resume, you have to be able to understand some of the technical terms there, not in detail, but in a high level. And then, for instance, if you put that you work as a Scrum Master, maybe with Bank of America, you should be able to understand what does it apply by working as a Scrum Master in Bank of America. When you understand that, then it's going to give you a bigger chance not to be surprised by some of the questions that are coming. Oh, how many team members were you working with? How large were your teams? Those are simple questions that simply throw people off. So when you take your resume and match it in the Scrum environment and visualize, if I'm working in a place like Bank America, what is a typical team like? And then what are some of the things that teams that are working within the Bank America, what are some of the products they may be building? You familiarize yourself with that, you'll be able to get a step ahead of others. Now, the third thing is, which is, for me, it's very important. And this is something that a lot of people ignore and it knocks them out of the circle. Be honest and confident. You're not a Superman. Nobody is a Superman. If you are in an interview and they hit you a question which you don't know, be honest. I know many people that have gotten their job just because they were honest. And people in the interview doesn't expect you to know everything. They just expect you to have a good mastery. Why? Because Scrum in its entirety, especially Agile, it's a flexible environment, and what happens in this environment might be different. And that's why one of the things I coach most of my students is that it's good to say, based on my experience, rather than trying to answer the question in entirety, in my former company, this is how I do it. Why? Because it's Agile is a mindset. There are principles, there are values. They are not methodology, which means you might not really replicate it the way it is. There might be a company that's doing having dependency meeting, mid-spring meeting, spring zero, but your company has never done that. There might be some companies where the Scrum Master is really active in release planning and other stuff. There may be other companies where the Scrum Master does not really do that. So you're talking based on your experience and your knowledge, but then you want to always say that you're open to learn and to take on more challenge because you have the mastery of the environment. So be honest and be confident. Where you're completely blank, tell them that, okay, I'm not sure I've come across this. Right. For instance, you might be asked, can you name some of the Scrum artifacts? And if you don't know what artifacts are, tell them, okay, probably I've not come across that word before. Just be honest. Or someone can come and say, oh, can you tell me the role of ROTE in Scrum? ROTE, who is a release train engineer, work in a safe environment and doesn't work in Scrum. But imagine that you're claiming to be a Superman and you say something that you don't know. That's already dishonesty, which is not a value of Scrum, which is the reason why it is very important for you to take your time, get a mastery of it. You don't have to go that data. Get a mastery of it. Get someone that knows exactly what it is like to work in a Scrum environment. You can practice with them. If you want to be part of my group, you can join my mastermind group. I'm open, not open like in free. It's gonna cost you some money. Why? Because I'm gonna dedicate my time, sit down, go through your resume, sit down, look at your case study, look at how we can be able to leverage your own expertise, your own leadership, your own background to be able to get you in front. So it's taking a lot of my time. I'm putting in time. I'm making sure I'm available for every member of my team. So which is why it's also going to cost you some value if you want to be part of my mastermind team. But for those who are there, they can tell you it has been awesome. People come in less than a month and they are transitioning into their position. So you might want to consider that. But if not, look for someone, look for a coach that can be able to, it mustn't really be a coach. You might have a friend that is already in there. Now get them to do your pre-mock interviews and then ask them how you did. Also, if you're on interview, you might be able to record yourself. Use an audio, use your phone, record yourself. After playback and see how you did, and you'll be able to assess and evaluate how you can do more. Number 4, have a learning culture. Many people, when they write their certification, they quit learning. They quit learning. They know, oh, I'm done. I don't have to learn. And they start thinking, oh, I need to practice for interview. No. The reason why you're practicing for interview is because you need to be able to identify the areas where you are weak and then start looking at how you can study, right? Identify the areas you're weak, look at how you can study more. When you get your certification, you even need to start buying more books that get into more in-depth on leadership, more book on Scrum, get more materials that's going to equip you for the job. If not, you remain shallow, and the competition that is within the market now is really, really high. The numbers of jobs are going high, but the number of people that are getting certified every day, they're also increasing. And if you want to be among them and you want to get certified, reach out. We are running some really great practical training for people that want to get in there in a way that by the time you get certified, you already have a really, really good mastery of what it takes to be a good Scrum Master. The many online training, I value them, but I want to give you an advice that if you really want to get faster, the online training, they're just 2 days, they leave you hanging. But the advantage of training with our team is that there's really close follow up. We really we help you make sure that you get the right knowledge, you able to get your certification on time, making sure that you're also practicing. The last, which is the most important thing, I always keep the most important thing for the last. Why? Because I want you to be able to, for those who pay attention, they get the most value of it, right? And the last one, win before your interview. Many people go to an interview and they're hoping that there's going to be an outcome. They're hoping that, okay, I just had an interview today, I don't even know what's going to happen. No. Look, what and the way you think are very powerful. Your word and the way you think are very powerful. Always have a positive mindset. Even when you know that you did not do well, always tell yourself, I know I did not do well, but I'm believing that something is going to happen and I will be favored. This doesn't actually take you make an excuse that don't prepare. Do your very best. When you do your very best, leave the rest to God. Leave the rest to your bigger mindset. Leave the rest to that law of attraction. Whatsoever you believe in, that faith and that positive mindset beat everything. Before you go to an interview, don't panic. Go there with some level of confidence. Look, if they don't give you the job, they're not coming to take your kid away. They're not coming to take anything away from you. So be confident and also understand that every process is a learning process. If you're learning, what happened? You need to be vulnerable that, oh, I thought I knew already something, but after going through this interview, I now understand that I don't know anything. So I need to be able to take more interviews. I need to be able to do more practices. Maybe I even need to go back and sit in another lesson again just to get more. So it's a powerful way to learn. Win in your mind. So I spoke about 5 things that you can do to get yourself ahead of every interview. Number 1, have a good mastery of Scrum environment. Number 2, understand your resume and how it applies to Scrum. Number 3, be honest and confident. Number 4, have a learning culture, always learn. Number 5, win before every interview. And then, if you need more help, that's my number. Reach out to me and just send me a text or send me a WhatsApp. A WhatsApp is kind of much better because it's a more better place to interact. Send me a text, send me a WhatsApp, or send me an email, and we'll be able to see how we can help you. All right. Until I see you again in the next video. Do not forget to subscribe, like the button, and if this actually benefited you, share with someone else.